Hey guys, Colin here, and just wanted to do a quick analysis. One of our Forex Made Simple Club members asked me if I could do one, so it's absolutely my pleasure. Aaron, this one is for you. So looking at the Australian Canadian dollar, so right now, as you can see, the spread is absolutely ridiculous, so it's not the time at all to get into a trade. I mean, look at this, the difference between the buy price and the sell price, right? I mean, whoa, Lord of mercy, that is 94.8, 94. Wow, I mean, that's like almost 20 pips right there. So if you got into a trade right now, you would be almost 20 pips in the red. So you have to wait until this settles down. I did a video on this one time about certain times of day not to trade. So if you're on Trader's Way, I mean, with different brokers, it might be different depending on the time zone, but always around between 4 and 5 o'clock. This is what happens. I think it's because it's maybe it's 12 o'clock in the UK or something like that. That's probably why this does that. But anyway, looking at this particular pair, what are we looking for this to do this coming week? So if we're talking about what it's going to do this coming week, then we have to look at a bigger time frame. Looking at the hourly time frame, we can see it's been a steady uptrend for quite some time. Since the beginning of July, this thing has been going up. That's been pretty significant, but we need to get a big picture. So for big picture, you got to zoom out. On the 4 hour, still a very steady uptrend. We have not come down and touched the 200 moving average yet, which is very strong for a continued push up whenever you see this kind of thing happening. But this is still not a big enough picture. We look at the daily, and I can't see that far left on this. This is a massive move. I mean, look at this. Look at where we came from the 19th of March, 80 to 94. Wow, that's like 1,400. That's like 1,400 pips over the course of 3 months or so, 3.5 months, almost 4 months. But because I can't see left here, I still can't see the next major support or resistance line. So we want to be able to see that. So we got to zoom out even further. Now, when we come out on the weekly time frame, now it makes sense. And this actually is a very major thing, that we have climbed all the way to the 200 moving average. Now, this is one of our key points that we always get a nice retracement on, right? So whenever we hit the 200 moving average, pretty much on any of the bigger time frames, anywhere from the 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily and weekly, there's normally a pretty big move in terms of, if it's resistance, we get a pretty big rejection, and if it's support, we get a pretty big bounce. So here, as you can see, it's staying true to form. We came right up to the 200 moving average. That would have been a great place for us to put a sell order right there on the weekly chart, though. So understand that this happens very slowly. Not as fast as trading on the 1 hour or the 4 hour. It takes several days or several weeks for this to come true. Now, in looking at this, though, let's see. On the RSI, we have not gone into overbought territory yet. On the stochastics, we are up here at 95, 97, which means we need to come back down and cool down, which is a very strong indicator that we should be getting some retracement here. If we're looking for a retracement based on where we are right now, I'm not sure if it's going to first go back up and try to retest this 200 moving average first, and then we come back down for a decent rejection. I mean, right here at the 200 moving average, 95,463. Here is a support point. Why? Because we can see this was resistance here for a few weeks. This area sorry, this area was resistance for several weeks. So we can expect that now that it has broken through the resistance, the role is reversed and it now becomes support. What used to be resistance, when we get past it, we now look for it to become support. So we can expect some support at 94,485. We are at 94.8 right now, so that's about 40 pips down. But like I said, right now at this point, it is still unclear as to whether or not we go back up to the 200 moving average and then get rejected and then come down, or if we just start heading down right now to this support point. Okay, so we are on the weekly, so that means there can be major fluctuations over the next couple of days. But ultimately, because of this massive run that it's done, I mean, I would be looking for it to, honestly, to probably come back down. It might come back down here. I would expect some support here. Then possibly a retest. And if we retest and we get rejected again, then I think we should see a further downside to come back down towards the 100-week moving average. So once again, the 200-week moving average, that is a major support or resistance point. So there's no surprise that we already came from 95.4 to 94.8. All right, so that was already almost 60 pips right there. But what would I be expecting? I mean, quite honestly, I would expect us to have a retracement to come down here, because normally when we break through in terms of a healthy move, we normally come back down and test the 50 moving average. If we get over here, we normally come back down and test the 100 moving average. But we just broke right through, didn't really come and form any consolidation on top of these points. We just broke through, came down one little bit, broke through again, didn't even come back down to interact with this, and just broke right back up. So I would expect over the coming week or two, I would expect us to have a retracement coming back down here. That's what I would expect in the big picture. Like I said, if we're looking right now, as you can see, this is a version of a kind of cool down, but when the moving averages are this close on the 1 hour and 4 hour, there's not a nice spread, or not a nice distance between these. These aren't the types of trades that I like to get into. So I wouldn't get into this trade right now. But I mean, if you're looking at it big picture, I would say we got to see what's happening at this support line. If we break through this, then we should, that's the next resistance point right there. So maybe 100 pips down would be the next support point, and ultimately down here. But yeah, that may take a week or two. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, cool.